Right, so I have returned once again to deliver another episode of Inuyashiki, this episode being episode 5. And I think Amazon Prime dropped this way too soon. I was like, oh, it's already out. I was like, okay. It's only dropped like 10 to 7 or 7 o'clock, but this time I was really freaking loud. Holy crap. I don't know why I was so loud. Good old YouTube. Just mucking up my voice all the time. But anyway, yeah. So I believe it's used to come out at 10 to 7 my time, but clearly now it's coming out at 10 past 6, I believe. So that's a thing. So yeah, I'm a bit early today with this actual like kind of stream because normally I would do it like 7 o'clock or half 7, but apparently it's changed now. So anyway, I believe I said last week at the end of the stream that I wanted a hero-centered episode because we actually had a lot more to do with Ichiro, which actually kind of made his character to be this quite amazing person, which is actually an understatement because actually is like the best person ever. But you know what I mean. I actually kind of want a hero-centered episode because I want to see more about him because we haven't really got anything to do with him besides the fact that we hate his guts to the point of no return. So I believe this episode actually answers my questions. I believe this episode actually kind of delves into Hero's character a lot more and actually kind of gives us more context on his character. And yeah, hopefully it actually does give us that. It actually might in theory kind of improve his character for me. So anyway, let's get this show on the road. If I actually can say the words, I'm actually very tired today. I don't know what's happening to me today. I've been staring at the same document for the last 7 hours, and my eyes and my voice have lost all meaning. But anyway, let's begin. So in 3, 2, 1, let's begin now. Ow! My legs just died as well. Great, everything's dying for me today. I actually generally think Undo is one of the more interesting characters out of all of them as well. Like he's not always kind of present in the whole entire show, but when he's actually there, he's actually quite an interesting character when you think about it, because he's actually got a lot. He's actually got a lot on his plate. That's what I actually quite like about him: the fact that he's seen a lot of things, but at the same time can actually in theory go to the police and say anything because, as Heroes mentioned, the fact is there's no evidence at all when you think about it. Like he actually can infuriate to the police and say something, but if there's no evidence, they can't actually charge him. So it's actually kind of impossible. But I actually kind of like Ando's character a lot. I'm not too sure it's actually ever been mentioned too much before in people's like kind of like talking about the show, because he's one of the sleeper characters of the whole entire show. That's just me, at least. Because he's stuck between two realities when you think about it. Hey, look, good old Amazon Prime, and it's always constant freezing. I hate Amazon Prime. Surprisingly, on the TV, it's not actually that bad, but on the actual internet, on the computer, it's absolutely atrocious. As I mentioned beforehand, Ando is very much a kind of a sleeper character for the whole entire show. And yet, when he has his time to shine, he is quite an interesting character. I think that episode's actually kind of delving into that quite a bit. Damn. The episode's already live on Amazon Prime, so if anywhere else, I have zero idea. But if you want it for Amazon Prime, it's already live. Yeah, I have zero idea when it premieres for anyone else, but Amazon Prime got it about like an hour earlier, I believe. So see you then. See you then. Oh, I'm actually okay today. Actually, I'm actually kind of I'm teetering on being really tired, but I'm kind of I'm kind of all right. How are you? Sorry, I was kind of watching the show a bit too a bit too much. No, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. Don't worry about it. I have to apologize. Sorry, I'm teetering on that idea of tired and actually kind of being very kind of conscious. It's really kind of annoying sometimes. Right. Well, that was a very interesting episode, actually. Am I completely kind of I don't know what the word is actually. Has my opinion changed too much about Hero? Is kind of the question I should be asking myself. I don't know, really. Because I kind of like the aspects that went with his character, actually, how they explored him a lot more in this episode. It actually kind of added a layer to his character that otherwise was kind of absent beforehand. But I can see what they were trying to do, which was the other thing I kind of lacked episode 2 when I was talking about, is the fact that I didn't talk about much about the idea of what they were trying to portray and actually say for episode 2 for what it actually really was. In theory, it kind of did indeed explore his character to the point that made us hate his character. So in that way, episode 2 did do a good job somewhat. But I think the only thing that kind of lacked in episode 2 was the fact that the introduction to his character was kind of lacking compared to Ichiro's character. That's kind of that was my main gripe with the episode itself, was the fact that his character wasn't as great introduced as Ichiro's character. It was more the fact that they're trying to make you hate him, which is not a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but the fact is, there could have been a lot more they could have done for his character in that episode. But really, now they've actually answered a lot more questions about his character. But yeah, overall, the episode actually was very interesting. It kind of gives a character who's been kind of very sociopathic up to this whole entire point some semblance of kind of heart in a way. It's not kind of disregarding his previous actions, because they're very much there and very much in the forefront. Because let's face it, we can't actually change our opinion on him too much, because the fact is we still hate his guts to a point, because he's basically just killed a bunch of people with no remorse. But now it's kind of brought into question this idea of how he kind of feels or what he's really done, because beforehand he actually had zero remorse for it, because he's like, oh yeah, I won't get caught for this, I won't get nothing happened to me. But now it's like, oh crap, it kind of all just dawns on him. He was absent-minded about the whole entire thing, because he had his power. He had that power. That's kind of what was going on. The fact is, for that reason, he didn't really kind of have any remorse. He was like, I've got this power, no one can actually catch me, so I can do what the F I want, and no remorse happens to me. But really, when you think about it, he didn't kind of think about the whole entire picture, what other people would think about him as well, because he kind of, again, he was sociopathic, so he didn't care about anyone else besides himself, and also kind of what appeared in the actual mangas as well, I believe he mentioned. So that was kind of a lot with his character. But now, ever since he actually asked his mum, like, what do you do if I was the one that did it? She'd be like, well, and then she said what she said. It kind of brings into question a lot of his character at that point. He's kind of like, he never really kind of thought of the opinions of the more compared to just his. That's kind of what I got from his character a lot more, is the fact that he kind of disregards people way too much and doesn't really kind of think about them too much, when in theory, actually, he kind of does value the opinion of his own mother. And that kind of is a nice contrast, because the fact was, he actually did in theory cure his mother. He cured his mother of her illness, and actually kind of then in theory was turning over a new leaf, when in theory, no, he actually got caught in the end. It's actually a nice, interesting end to an episode, because it's kind of one of those things, it kind of does the interesting aspect of actually kind of a turning over a new leaf for a character who's otherwise been kind of a killing machine up to this whole entire point. And then inadvertently kind of not being able to do said thing because you're caught now. It makes the whole entirety of the show, to that whole entire point, kind of bring to question the morality of his character, the actual idea of how he saw what he was doing, which actually was kind of interesting. I thought, okay, good job on that part, because it actually didn't really explore how he kind of sees himself and actually how others see him as well. Because again, he was kind of this masked assailant. No one knew who he was. No one knew who he was doing it. Granted, people did kind of have an inkling it was actually him, actually Ando as well, which actually was kind of unfortunate as well, because it was like he theoretically wasn't doing anything wrong. He's kind of just thrown this whole entire thing as well. But in theory, Ando was doing the right thing, actually trying to take down someone who otherwise can't be taken down by normal conventional means. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a very, very interesting episode because it kind of, in theory, is a nice contrast on Hiro's character a lot. I actually kind of liked it for that reason. It kind of, I mean, it answered certain questions about him. Actually, kind of, actually, as I said beforehand, in the ending, it added a lot more of a layer to his character that was otherwise absent, which was kind of, it was just kind of cool because again, I will agree. The fact is, you can go for a whole entire show without ever knowing too much about his character. Actually, just be pure evil. You can do that. I don't mind. It's one of those things that it kind of, in theory, just lends itself well to the actual final encounter between him and Ichiro because you want to actually for Ichiro to take him down. It kind of works in that regard. But I always found adding a layer to his character always kind of helps. Certainly with actually how he is as a person. That's why I always kind of value it in the villains themselves. The fact that when you actually kind of add a layer to them, that actually kind of in theory does help them. No, not doing Summer. What was it? King's Game, I believe it's called, the anime. I think it's All Summer's Game in Japanese. No, I'm not doing that. When I dropped that episode 1, it wasn't good. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens now with his character because now he's in a very, very difficult position because theoretically you say up and you leave like, yes, I will not kill anyone anymore because look at what's happened now. Like I've actually kind of turned up a new leaf, so I won't kill anyone. And now he's been inadvertently caught. It's kind of one of those things. You just want to know what's going to happen next. And then what happens between him and Ichiro as a whole as well, because again, there's this large kind of contrast between the characters. I want to see actually how they kind of then meet and actually how the encounter does go from there. That's what I kind of want to see as well. But yeah, I mean, damn. As I said during the actual kind of stream itself, Ando's character is a sleeper hit of the whole entire anime, I must say, because he's one of those characters I want to see explored a lot more as well, as well as I should say his name now, Hiro's character as well. Like, I kind of want him explored because he can be a very interesting character because he had a childhood friend who's basically not that person anymore. It's one of those things that kind of does hit a person quite hard. The fact that you've known this person's whole entire time, but now he's not that person you knew beforehand. It will hit a person quite hard. So it's actually kind of interesting to see how he actually reacts to the situation, how he then actually kind of wants to counteract the actual kind of actions he's doing, actually going to the source of person that actually can help, which inadvertently isn't the person you imagine it to be, because let's face it, he couldn't in theory go to the police because, as I said beforehand, he's in a very kind of tight situation because there is no way he, in theory, actually can. Well, actually, inadvertently, at the end, it kind of does, in theory, prove that. But as it kind of was going on, the fact you really couldn't, in theory, kind of pin it on him because the fact was there was no gun. There was no evidence of him doing it. I mean, in theory, unless you have a CCTV camera where he actually was, actually kind of see him doing what he was doing, you actually kind of, in theory, prove it. It's kind of one of those ones, it's kind of like a very, 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 very evidenceless crime, if that's how you can actually call it that. But actually kind of interesting to see how he actually went about actually kind of taking down Hiro's character. It was kind of, I mean, it's one of those things you kind of didn't want to see him get taken down because he actually has done quite a lot to this whole entire point, which actually doesn't very kind of make him seem as if he's a completely deplorable human being. There's no way in hell he actually can redeem himself. And in theory, he was trying to, but the fact was the damage has already been done, which actually is kind of interesting to see actually happen. The fact is, the whole entire idea of him trying to turn over his new leaf, like, yeah, look, I've got all this now, actually can in theory help, so I will do it now. But in theory, no, it's too late. Like, one of those things that he should have thought about beforehand before actually kind of going on that murderous rampage. Like, it's an interesting kind of outlook on his character. I actually kind of liked it for that reason. The fact is that he kind of was turning over his new leaf and went boom. No, it was a nice stopping point for his character. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube's actually been kind of weird lately. Like, it's one of those things that YouTube's actually kind of not telling people I'm going live, which is really weird. I don't know. YouTube's a weird place at this moment, but yeah, I don't know. But I want to see how the encounter happens. It's kind of the major thing now. It's kind of the encounter between Ichiro and Hiro, because they're two drastically different characters whose one's trying to kind of claw his way back, while the other one's kind of this like saintly god character. It's kind of interesting to see how it just kind of all kind of comes to be and actually kind of then comes to head. That's what I kind of want to see. But man, Ichiro's character. Ichiro's character is a beautiful man. He's a beautiful person because he's one of those people who he knows he's not a hero technically because he does in theory possess this weapon that's kind of very, very destructive. So he understands that really in theory he's trying to help people, though in theory he's simply inadvertently a killing machine as well. But it's kind of interesting to see how he actually sees himself because it's one of those things how everyone else will see him as a hero, but he kind of sees himself as nothing else more than just an ordinary human being. But at the same time, he actually possesses this power that actually inadvertently he can't really kind of control just yet, and actually then in theory turns into a killing machine. So in theory, when you think about it, he doesn't see himself as anything more in a way, but not to the same extent as Hiro's character, not to the same extent because he's actually not a murderous killing machine that has zero remorse and actually zero like kind of compassion, because let's face it, up to this whole entire point, Hiro's had no compassion. Like he's literally had nothing, and up to the point that when he cured his mother, he still didn't really have compassion because look at what he did to the poor girl when she said, "Oh look, I have feelings for you." He's like, "Thanks." It's kind of like, "Damn son, like, dude, you don't let a person down like that. You don't just go thank you. It's just it kind of hurts a person even more." So you can see at that point he doesn't really kind of harness the idea of how people will see what he does, which actually then factors into his whole entire character once he actually then realizes, oh crap, look at what I've done. Like it's one of those things, you kind of go, dude, if you realize it wouldn't be in this mess. Like, and now you're kind of in this mess. Like, it was one of those things that it kind of, I wouldn't say it's frustrating, but it's kind of like, just like, dude. I don't know, it's interesting. I like his character for that reason. I like his character for that reason because he just didn't realize certain things. It's just like it's also just come to a head. It's all like, oh damn, and then now he's just been kind of caught. It's like, ha ha. Didn't really think about it, did you? Because it's kind of one of those things like, oh yeah, by the way, it's completely evidenceless what I'm doing, so don't worry about it. Oh god, maybe it isn't. Hey, it's like, didn't think about that one, did I? It was interesting. I actually kind of also like the whole entire idea of how he was trying to support his mother, but at the same time, it's interesting because he has a power that in theory can help a lot of people and actually can in theory then help his family. But it's the way he uses it. It's kind of interesting because he kind of deducts a large amount of money that I granted don't actually know how much 3 million yen is in pounds, but it's still a very large amount of money. And actually kind of just doesn't, he sees himself as kind of this good person. But once you start to actually kind of inadvertently take a lot of money out, people might then start asking questions. The other's like, dude, there's something going on here. I don't particularly like this idea, but it's one of those things that because you don't really think about it, because you get this idea like, yeah, I've got this, I want to use this, but you use it a bit too much to the point that it kind of raises too many questions, and it kind of then doesn't actually allow you to actually kind of live a normal life because then you always live it in question. So it's actually kind of interesting because he was helping his mother. We don't disregard that whole entire idea. He was helping her, but in theory, what he was doing was actually raising a lot more suspicion because, let's face it, there's actually ways and means you actually can, in theory, just deduct the money slowly and actually kind of then do it that way and actually then, in theory, not raise any questions because, let's face it, if you get this money out of nowhere, people may start asking questions. So I kind of like that aspect as well. I thought that's actually kind of interesting because it's just like, I like the fact his mom was like, dude, like, where'd you get this? Because I know you're helping me, but where'd you get this? Because what might have been kind of a bit more better was kind of just the kind of maybe, thank you. But maybe what might have been kind of better was to say, oh, look, I've actually found this place. I'm going to put this deposit down, and actually then we can go live there. It's actually quite expensive, but I'll find a way to do this. Not kind of raising the alarm bells. That's kind of just like, okay, maybe he has somewhere he's going to right now. Granted, yes, it's all very expensive, but he's going somewhere that actually can, in theory, then actually get him some money, which actually then, in theory, actually let us live better. It's not really raising any questions, but the way he kind of did it, I understand it. It's one of those things that you don't kind of question it once you actually have that money. You kind of just like, you're kind of empty money when it comes to that kind of thing. But it was actually kind of always a means of doing things. But I mean, it kind of just, it kind of feeds back into Hero as a whole. That's what I kind of liked about it. It feeds back into him as a kind of a character overall. So yeah, in that way, I can kind of see why it was kind of portrayed like that. But it's kind of interesting to see it, just because of the fact that he raises way too many questions. He kind of doesn't do what he does, which actually then in theory he shouldn't be doing what he does anyway. But he doesn't actually kind of think about it largely. He kind of he's a bit absent-minded when it comes to that kind of thing. But in theory, still there is there is some semblance of compassion in his heart, though granted it's not that much, but still in theory, he actually didn't help. He did help his mother, so it kind of adds a layer to his character. Otherwise, was actually kind of absent. It makes it a bit more kind of, I don't know, just a bit more kind of compassionate to humanity. Just it kind of makes you realize, oh, he cares about someone in life. Also, as well, it's kind of interesting to see his actual kind of his father contrast his mother as well. Like, in essence, the whole entire family of his father compared to the family of his mother. It's actually kind of interesting kind of contrast to see what actually was going on there. And actually kind of just allows us to see a little bit more of his whole entire life as a whole that was actually kind of absent beforehand. I just kind of allows you to see there's a lot more going on than we actually did aptly imagine originally. So in that way, good job on that part. We actually got some more context, which was otherwise absent. So good job. So I think this episode overall really did just delve into Hiro's character as a whole, and actually kind of in theory raised some questions while answering some other ones as well. Actually kind of in theory also allows us to kind of see a bit of a morality kind of shift in his character as well, which was very freaking too late at this point. And good job Ando as well. I actually liked his character a lot in this episode. A kind of a character who's flung into this whole entire thing of actually kind of really realizing it too much, actually then in theory kind of going, look, I will fix this somehow, and actually kind of go to someone actually can help. And by Jingo, he actually did. So good job. It was actually kind of a nice thing to see this kind of mini training arc in this episode between Ando and Ichiro as well. It's actually kind of cool. I thought good job on that part. It's actually kind of, because Ichiro's actually a great character, you just want to see him kind of just kind of happy, like kind of just doing what he's doing, because he's actually kind of helping people. It's actually kind of nice. You just want to see him more happy in life as well. So yeah. Oh man. But yeah, I mean overall, really freaking good episode. Actually, over my eyes a little bit. Oh, my eye. Actually, my whole entire stream, just right now, I had this thing in my eye. I was like, I had to blink. I blinked a few times. It actually fixed it slightly. But I mean, yeah. Overall, freaking good episode. Really. Actually, I kind of feared Hiro's character a little bit, because I just don't know what they will do with his character. I don't know if they'll actually go don't know if not they go very surface level with him, or very kind of a little bit more deeper with his character. But actually, didn't feel a little bit deeper. It's not so surface level as I actually imagined. So good job in that regard. So overall, good episode, I must say. Made it go from a very strong 7.8 to around about an 8.2 now, I would say. I haven't been completely blown away by it, but I actually kind of like what it's doing. That's the kind of major thing I actually like about the show. It's the fact I'm not blown away by it, but I just like what they're doing with the show itself. So yeah. Whew. That was quite a lot. Sorry, I actually did in theory I actually can't speak. Whew. Okay. I did in theory talk a bit too much from that whole entire stream, but I have to actually kind of get my opinion out, because otherwise, if I don't say my things, I will forget them. So yeah, all in all, very freaking good episode. So yeah, it's quite interesting actually. Actually, from Peru, it's actually, have I ever visited that place? I don't think I have. I don't think I've been to that area. I'm not too sure. No, I don't think I have, but it's very interesting. Oh, there we go. My arms were going dead during that whole entire stream as well. What happens when you sit down in a seat for a very, very long time? Your arms go dead after a while. So yeah, with all that said, I have indeed been a driver. If you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole, and you do leave a like, then do leave a like, because indeed, it does help me quite a bit. You have enjoyed what I do here, and you want to stay a little bit longer, then do leave a sub, because indeed, it does help me quite a bit. But until tomorrow, with freaking hell, what's happening tomorrow? I have zero idea, actually. Overlord. That's it. Overlord's happening tomorrow. The manga stream will happen tomorrow. Do not worry about it. So until then, see you guys later. Bye for now.